Hey guys, it's Chris here again with a video to talk to you today about how to sell your comic or how to make money from your comic book project. So there's plenty of ways we can do this, but let's start from the very beginning and assume you've just recently, like me, just finished your comic book. So for those of you who are unaware, I just recently finished my book Monkey Junk, which is a 20-page black and white comic, which is now in print form, which is also available to read for free on webtoons.com. So, interestingly enough, I've had quite a bit of sort of good and bad feedback. People who love the webcomic don't understand why I printed the comic book and when they could just get the content for free. Other people who are so glad that there's a printed version of the book now because they don't really like to read webcomics. I'm generally in the latter on that one. I'm a physical comic kind of person. Originally, when I started putting this book together, I knew that it would end up being in print. It wasn't going to be a webcomic the whole time. In fact, the whole reason that we put it up on Webtoons was so we could encourage new readers to get on board early whilst we were creating the comic book, to get to a point where we could make it a physical product. So we could build up a nice little fan base, encourage readers to jump on board who had read previous comics, or to try and entice new readers who've never heard of me or the writer or Monkey Junk at all. So Webtoons was a really good platform for that, and still continues to be. We are currently sort of on hiatus while we're working on issue 2, and then we'll be jumping back on board. But we have seen growth in that aspect, and sort of seeing that transitioning a little bit on the physical side. So what we ended up doing was, and I suppose this is probably the first thing that you can consider as a way to make money, how to sell your comic book, Kickstarter or crowdfunders. So Kickstarter is obviously not the only one out there in the world. You've also got other ones like Indiegogo, which is currently quite popular with comic book projects. We went the route with Kickstarter. The reason being that I've already done a project through Kickstarter, so I already have a track record that I can fulfill rewards through that platform, and also I found it easier just in a way to get back in. Like I said, I've already done one before, so doing another one just felt a little bit easier, and the idea of jumping onto another platform, although probably a similar process, wasn't really ready to do a whole lot of extra sort of learning and research. I had a very good hold on what I was doing with Kickstarter, so we stuck with it. Now, that was a really great way to make a bit of income on that. So with Kickstarter, you do have to consider a lot of things. For us, the book didn't exist yet. The book had been finished though, all the pages were done. We just needed to put together some costs to actually print the comic. On top of that, so we had to think about printing costs, we had to think about postage costs for everyone who ordered them. We also had to consider additional rewards, so we were doing prints, original art, that would affect it, buying all the postage items, so postage bags, cardboard sleeves, bubble wrap, whatever was required. And then we also added on, for our own benefit, a remuneration for our time. So for myself and the writer, we put a fee down that we both wanted to make, and we added that into our Kickstarter goal. So that did increase our goal significantly, but at the end of the day, we worked pretty hard on the Kickstarter, and we were able to generate an income from that. So by doing this comic book, we got paid for the work and the time that we put into it, and that was a really great way to not only sell the comic and get new readers on board, but to also just recoup from some costs, because you do put a lot of time into these little projects of yours, and I think it's important that if you have the capabilities to try and make your money back on that, when you could be doing, say, client work, for example, you could be making an income that way. So I think it's still important to consider your own personal projects as something that does have a monetary value, and you should be able to bring that in. So now, Kickstarters are a big one. They are quite tough and difficult. They're a long, timely investment and a lot of hard work, so don't let anyone fool you when you say just make a Kickstarter and make a ton of money. You do need to work hard, you do need to hustle, do a lot of advertising, and get yourself up on Facebook or whatever it is, Instagram, just to encourage people to buy it. So you might have a lot of friends that will hopefully help you reach your goal quite quickly. If you don't, you have to reach out to people who you don't know, and that's where that advertising comes in, and reaching out to people. So the next one I want to talk to you about is social media. So just touch on that lightly with Instagram, but social media is a great platform to be able to sell on, and having Facebook especially, I know a lot of people don't like Facebook anymore, but Facebook has a lot of great integration tools with online marketplaces. So I think this is a really handy tool for you to get on board with something like Big Cartel, I think Shopify, Store Envy, or your own store. We have one currently through Squarespace, and you can link that into your Facebook account. People can pretty much just go shopping on Facebook. They don't have to go to any other website. They can comfortably navigate through your Facebook page. You can encourage them to shop on there, and they can purchase a comic that way. Now, that's a really great way to generate sales. You can also cross-advertise on Instagram. I apologize for the background noise. My dog is under my desk there, and he's having a scratch fest at the moment. I think he's getting a bit bored, aren't you there, buddy? Sorry about that. So getting on Instagram, Twitter is also a good one. Not all of these are going to work for you. You're going to need to find something that will stick. So it's important that you try different avenues, try a few different things, and also give them time. Like Monkey Junk, for example. Monkey Junk is a comic book that I love, and I have a lot of investment in. That doesn't ring true for anyone else, except for maybe the writer. So for this, me to sell this to a person means a whole lot. And I understand that they're getting something that I'm really proud of, and I think is well worth the monetary value that they're paying me. On the other side of it is a person who has a plethora of independent comics that they can buy, a plethora of commercial comic books. They could buy like a Superman or a Batman, and here I am trying to convince them that this is the book that they need to be spending their money on. Now, not everyone has a ton of money. Someone might come along and be like, oh, I've got about $20, I'm going to buy a couple of independent comics and support some creators. Now you're fighting with everyone else. Why do you stand out of the crowd? You need to understand that just putting one post up and saying, hey, buy my comic book, isn't enough to encourage one person to buy your comic book. You need to help them understand why it's important that they buy the comic book, what they're going to get out of it. Is it a story that they're going to like? Is it a sci-fi book but they're more into historical comics? You need to find your target audience. So you've got to play the long game. You've got to advertise, you've got to encourage people, and you also need to allow people to sort of come in and join you to be a part of your community. And that's probably one of the most important things is selling your comic isn't just a matter of just getting anyone to buy it. You want to build a community and a fan base around your story and around you, the artist, and give a bit of personability to what it is that you're trying to sell. So Instagram and Facebook or any form of social media is a great way to do that, because not only can you market and put up advertisement posts on there, but you can also just be yourself. You can put photos up of you drawing the comic book, or receiving the books from the printers, or sketching out ideas, or working on the script, anything like that, or just character designs, whatever it is. All of these advertisement tools to bring in fans and get them sort of on board with you and go, oh, okay, I really, they're dedicated to this project, I want to follow along and see how it goes. To a point where, and Monkey Junk is exactly the same, for anyone who's been watching my videos, especially one of my most popular videos, the How to Start Your Comic, it talks about me working on Monkey Junk within like the first couple of minutes. So I've had people come up to me and be like, I watched your videos, you talk about Monkey Junk all the time, finally I can grab a copy, please can I get one, can you sign it, etc. They're invested because I've spent a lot of time talking about the project, being personal about the project, and inviting you to be involved with it as well. So try and consider that when you're working on these kinds of projects, okay? The next thing, now, this sort of sits along the same lines of, you know, how you're selling your comic book, but having different options. So having a physical comic is great. Not everyone likes physical comics, as we've discovered. I also have my comic up on Webtoon, so you guys can read it for free right now. You don't even have to buy the comic book. In doing that, you're supporting me anyway by giving the page some views and encouraging others, liking it and commenting on it, etc. But I do also like to have digital versions for people to enjoy as well. Now, why would you pay money for a digital copy when you can just read it online for free? Well, the way I see it, if you're going to be encouraging people to pay you for a digital copy of the comic book, now they may just want to support you regardless, give you a few bucks, get a digital copy, they feel great about themselves, you feel great because you've made a little bit of extra cash. I think it's really important, and this also goes for physical editions as well, when I'm posting stuff out, is give the customer more. Give the customer more than what they think they're going to get. Now, whether that's just giving them an additional couple of pages or some behind the scenes sketches in the digital copy, what I do is, and even though it's free to get on Gumtree, I actually include, or I'm going to include the sketchbook which I put together last year for Monkey Junk, so they'll get a copy of the Monkey Junk PDF, but they'll also get a copy of the sketchbook. Now, both of those are free, but this way they download it, they pay their couple of dollars to get the book, and they go, oh wow, this is awesome, I got extra, I wasn't expecting extra, thank you, this is great. It encourages them to follow along with you, have a little bit more respect for you as an artist, for someone who's just willing to give out free content, which is great, kind of like these videos for example. You know, providing those extra little bits, so when I'm actually posting out comic books, I'll throw in a couple of bookmarks or something. So, for example, this is just convenient, but this is actually a package I'm sending out now. So as you can see, it's got the comic book inside, but it also throws in a free print and some bookmarks in here, which you can see in there. So the bookmarks don't really cost me much to get made. You can do the other things like stickers, postcards, even your own business card, etc. Just little things that you can put in that don't really have a high monetary value. You can send to the customer, and I've had a lot of great feedback. A lot of people really, hear my dog again, his little bells going off. Calm down there, man. Sorry. So these little things will help, and so digital copies, great. Not only can you run these through your own store, you can use them through other platforms as well. So Comixology is a great one. You can submit it to Comixology. They have a huge fan base that's pre-existing anyway. So you can just go in there, register, upload your comic book, and then sell it from there. Again, I have to really stress this. If you're going to do things on other platforms, you need to market it. You can't just put something on the internet and expect people to buy it. You need to be going out on Instagram, you need to be going on Twitter, you need to be going on Facebook. You need to be saying, hey, check out my comic now on Comixology. It's only 99 cents and you can read it there on your iPad right now. Simple posts like that. Do them once a week. Remind people that it exists there. Encourage people to buy it. That way you might not make money straight away, but eventually, over time, you'll start building awareness. Yeah, it'll happen. You just got to play the long game. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is merchandising. Now, interestingly enough, and a lot of people gave me a lot of flack when I started doing Monkey Junk because I talked about merchandising a lot. Now that we're halfway into issue 2, people are a little bit more understanding about it. I love merchandising. I love the idea that I can buy a t-shirt of one of my favorite creators, or one of my favorite indie comic books, or even just, you know, like a Captain America t-shirt or something like that, and wear it proudly and know that I'm supporting the team that works on those projects. So for me, it was a no-brainer to do that with Monkey Junk. Now, I don't have t-shirt printers here. I don't have large-scale printers or cutting machines, etc., etc. So what I've opted out to do is use an actual print-on-demand site like Redbubble. Now, if you go to Redbubble and search for Monkey Junk, you will find that there's a ton of merchandise available on there, and there's still more that I need to upload. It is a bit of a timely process, but I can start creating a huge catalogue of merchandise for people to buy, and it's direct from me, and I get a percentage of the costs from whatever sells. So you can buy t-shirts, you can buy hoodies, you can buy coffee mugs, you can buy travel mugs, you can buy stickers, you can buy notebooks, all with the Monkey Junk branding, which I've put together. So some of it's just, man, my dog's going to town today. He's just buggering up the whole video. So merchandising is a great way. Doing it on demand makes it a lot easier. So you just upload the artwork and then you'll start seeing remunerations coming in, which is fantastic. Or you can go the alternate route. You can do it from home. So you can set it up. So if you guys have a look over here, if I can move the camera around. So this here is actually my little workbench. It looks a little bit messy, but it's somewhat organized. Over here is a box full of comics of Monkey Junk, and we've got folders full of prints there. We've got some stickers here, my record player, which I'm not selling, folders of prints, and behind there's some stickers and bookmarks and things like that. So, and my tripod just went a bit crazy. There we go. Okay, cool. That'll teach me for messing around with it. So, there are things that I do from home. Most of the other merchandise I generally leave to Redbubble to do it on there. So, just don't want that to fall over again. Where was I? Okay, had a bit of a blank. So you can either do it from home, you then have to deal with shipping yourself, you have to deal with packaging it yourself. It's more of a timely effort. But if you have the time during the day to do it, or if you have the time in the evenings to do it, then you can run down on the weekends to post it, or duck out on your lunch break at work and post that sort of stuff out. I'm in a lucky position where I'm currently working from home, so I can take an order in and pretty much send it out next day, which is great. The sooner you can send stuff out like that, the more likely you're going to have a happy customer at the end of the day. Alternatively, if you only send things out like every Saturday, for example, you might want to let the customers know. Maybe put something in the description of the item list or listing or whatever it is, just so people are aware that they may buy it on a Monday, but that's definitely not going to arrive until the next week, just because of your time frame or whatever. And they're going to be more thankful. They're not going to be chasing you up and be like, hey, where is it? They can go, oh, okay, no worries. If I buy this now, I'm going to have to wait a little bit, but I'm still going to get it. That's great. They've explained why the postage will be late, and I don't need to worry about it. So just consider those sorts of things. One of the things I like to do now is I actually buy all of my stamps in bulk, so that way I can do all my postage from home. I've got a listing. I've sent enough stuff now through Kickstarter that I have an understanding of what things cost to mail out. So I just have a list. I check the weight of it. I've got like a little scale over here. I can reach it, which is like this little thing. This is like a freebie one, which we got ages ago. I do want to get a digital one, but this one works just as well for now. So I weigh the package, check the weight, put my postage against it, and then I can sell it. I can just put the stamps on, put it in the letterbox. That way I don't need to go down to the post office and organise anything. I can just throw it into the post box and there we go. Nice and easy. So there's plenty of options to try and streamline things for yourself. You've just got to do a bit of research at the beginning and you'll get it easier over time. That's about it. The only other thing I could probably recommend, and these are like, I'm just trying to think of like free avenues for you guys. Alternatively, there are paid options. If you've got an online store like a Big Cartel or Store Envy or whatever, and you are using social media, you can look into paid advertising. Paid advertising has worked for me in the past. The only reason I don't do it is because it is paid, so it costs money, and I'm trying to build up a fund, to print more comics or do conventions and things like that. So I don't have a huge wad of cash to just go, here's like some marketing money that I can just waste. One day I'd like to get to that point, but at the moment I've got to utilize as many free options as I possibly can. But it does work. If you're going to use it, do yourself a favor first. Go to Google, type in how to use Facebook ads or how to use Instagram ads. Figure out the best way to target your audience first. One of the biggest mistakes I made, and I'm pretty sure I've said this in other vlogs, when you are doing targeted advertising, what I did for the Kickstarter I put in Australia, New Zealand, United States. I also put in China and Japan. The reason I put in China and Japan at the time was thinking they're probably still pretty big on comics. Japan is definitely huge on comics. Maybe China is too. What happened then was I was getting a ton of click farming from China. They pretty much chewed up all of my ad allowance very, very quickly. So all of the ads were going to China. They were commenting with like random garble. They were liking it. And I was getting no actual interaction from the ad transitioning over into my Kickstarter. And I very quickly realized that, pulled the ad down, redid it, pulled China and Japan out, and just did Australia, New Zealand, and America. And we did a lot better. We had a lot better results with that advertising. So that was my fault of not doing my research properly. Please, for the love of God, do it. I even recommend even just trying your hometown. Just do far more targeted advertising in your hometown. Build that up, get them on board, then move into other states or your own country. If you're in the United States, which I know a lot of you who watch these videos are, America's huge. So you'll be paying a lot of money to really reach the whole of America. Australia is far smaller, so I'm kind of lucky in that regard. Where cheaper advertising actually works out quite well for us. So even though it still costs money, and it's not easy, but it's an option for you guys. So that's about it. I'm sure there's more. If I definitely think about it, we might do a part 2 video to this. But hopefully that really covers it. Hopefully that gives you some ideas that you might not have thought of, or maybe just answers a few questions that you've been wondering about. You know, Instagram, why isn't it working? Maybe what I've said in this video will help you out. But there's a lot to take in. If you do have any questions, please post down below in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer any and all of them. And you can always catch me on Instagram as well, ask me some questions there. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you did like this video and you found it really helpful, hit that like button down below, and hit subscribe as well, because I'm going to do a ton more videos like this as well. For you guys, I really enjoy doing them, and I do have a laundry list of videos that I want to do, so just nice, informative, casual talking videos. I'm going to be doing some art videos as well in the future too, so keep an eye out for those. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video, and have a great day.